from another planet? Is Janet 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 from another planet?
The opinions you're about to hear on this show are strictly those of the panel.
The following program is rated TV MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
I just want to say thank you. Say thank you for everything. Oh, the blessings, the messes, whatever comes next. I know you're watching over me, and I just want to be grateful. Just grateful for all I have. I'm alive and I'm breathing. This vibe got me singing.
I had to do that. It was my first stuff because I have 3 subscribers or members or whatever you call it.
Oh yeah, the ones that pay. Yeah,
for the first time. So I made a little.
Well, she at least it's not an OnlyFans account.
Well, yeah, I said I sometimes do that. I have a little thing under my name that says my Lonely Fans account on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to. I wanted to play that. Oh, hello, Hungar. Did you see your name? I put your name on my little video I made to thank my subscribers or whatever. But I did it again. So now I get to play one of my other videos. Let's see which one I want to do. I'll do this one because I played a different one the other day. Here we go.
That's funny.
I hope you like that one. I've been trying to make a few of them, but thank you very much, Hungar. Really appreciate you joining me this evening, this nice evening, because it's not raining or bad weather. We had a pretty nice day, but to have the shit show tonight. But there's going to be some good shit for at least for one side, a little bit more on one side than the other tonight. But thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. You're such a sweetheart. And I'm lucky to have you as a person that subscribes to my channel. So thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. But hello, Lloyd Christmas. How are you? Hope you're doing well. And I want to say welcome to Ruben for joining me this evening to talk about some of the great stuff that we're going to be bringing up. But the first thing I wanted to dive into, I'm hoping Jackie can come in for a little while, but if she was running late, she had to go to work, so she won't be able to help me. But but George stepped in. Hello, George. Nice to see you this evening on a Friday night. I did a music stream earlier today for on X. I said in the news, and it was all Huey Lewis in the news videos, but I did it on X because I can't do it on YouTube because I'll get in trouble. So I just did it on there. But just to kind of get me back in the practice of doing those. But this first thing I want to bring up, it has to do with some of the things that's been going on for the last, week or so. And I wanted to make sure I brought up the right one. Let me make sure I bring up the right one. Okay, it's number 15. Why do I do that every time? It seems like it's either lopsided or not lopsided. So hold on, I gotta get it. I think this is it. Yeah. Okay. Oh, no, I can't do this one because I don't want to do it because I didn't get her answer to do it. So I'm not going to play it yet. Sorry. Because Erica Kirk had done a video on her channel in response to some things, and I wanted to play it, but I asked permission and they haven't responded. So I'm not going to play it because it's very personal and I don't want to be one of those people.
Yeah, but so you can't play, you'll get in trouble by showing it?
I might. It's off her YouTube channel, so I don't want to.
So then here is something interesting. I don't know if you want to at least describe what was going on, but I saw the video. Basically, the idea that she has been basically, character assassination on her part ever since it was first reported that so she spent $100,000 or some amount of money on a black outfit to wear. The reason being is that she flew there and she had somebody buy all the outfits because she's concentrating on that, and she wanted to dress up, for it.
You mean for the other night?
No, for the when Charlie was.
Oh well, she was just talking about how she just wanted to clear the air about the other night, about her reaction after the shooting at the gala.
Right. But she was very upset with people who were saying bad things about her.
Yeah, I know, but who wouldn't be with some of the stuff?
But the thing is that, did you see the response that somebody did?
No, not yet.
Jennifer Welch, if you look it up, did a mock video responding to her, and what she spewed was one of the most vile and disgusting things I've ever seen.
No, I haven't seen that.
Let me find it. She made fun of Erica Kirk, basically.
Yeah, but I don't want to play it. I don't want to play it on my channel.
No. I'm just saying. But that's the thing. I want you to look at it, and you can share it with people so that they can see it.
Well, yeah, share it with me in the private chat.
Yeah, I will.
Okay, well, this is the video I wanted to share. I wanted to share you this, and then we'll play the one after, because this is an actual video of Johnny Carson on ABC, the same network that Kimmel's on, right? And he did the opening for the Oscars, and he was going to do it the night before, but the night before was when Reagan was had an attempted assassination on President Reagan, so they waited till the next night to do it. And it says Johnny Carson opens the 1981 Oscars a day after the assassination attempt on President Reagan with genuine class and respect. The entire liberal Hollywood crowd erupts in applause. Today, Jimmy Kimmel jokes about Melania Trump becoming a widow. Okay, it's just sickening. But I want to play this because I want you to see how much we've changed since I think this was 1981. So let me make sure it's turned up. Here we go.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure that all of you here and most of you watching tonight understand why we delayed this program for 24 hours. Because of the incredible events of yesterday, that old adage, the show must go on, seemed relatively unimportant. The Academy, ABC Television, and all of us connected with the show felt because of the uncertain outcome, as of this time yesterday, it would have been inappropriate to stage a celebration. But the news today is very good. As you know, the president is in excellent condition at last reports. He's been conducting business. and he happens to be in very good spirits. After all, you must remember this is a man who yesterday, while he was in the hospital unable to speak, wrote on a sheet of paper, "All things considered, I'd rather be in Philadelphia." So tonight the show does go on. Now, 2 weeks ago, President Reagan videotaped an opening greeting for this occasion. We were in contact with the White House about 2 hours ago, and it was the president's express wishes that we use that introduction. And I might add that you might like to know that he also asked for a television set in his room so he could view this program tonight. I was, actually, the president was in such good form today, I was very tempted to call him and ask him if he had any more of those one-liners that I could use. So it is especially pleasing tonight, ladies and gentlemen, to be able to say, here is the President of the United States.
Well, I just wanted to play that because once I saw it, because I'd never seen it before, but once I found that and I watched it, I was like, we have fallen so far into the gutter that we can't even talk nice about our president of the United States or any of the other person that's official about being someone trying to kill them, whatever side they're on. I didn't vote for Obama. I didn't vote for the Clinton. I didn't vote for a lot of these presidents that have been president, but I never would badmouth them and say horrible things about their wife or them if somebody tried to kill them. I mean, it's just despicable and sad, and it's not funny. I don't care if you're a comedian or not. That's just not funny. But the fact that ABC, the same people that had this wonderful gentleman on there with some class and taste, with such respect for the president of the United States, even though, yes, he was once in Hollywood, right? But he was now the person running our country. He was the face of our nation. And the way these people treat Trump, it's shocking that we don't have more countries that hate us because they look at us like how weak we are when we had a president that could barely walk or speak. And then we have a president that's doing all the things that Trump has been doing since day one, starting off the second term. And nobody on that side says anything nice about him. They push it and push it and push it until, then people are shocked that somebody wants to climb over the fence at his house and try to kill him. It's just doesn't make any sense. That's common sense would tell you if you say that enough, sooner or later, someone's going to take your word for it and just do it or try.
But you have to remember the mentality of somebody on the left is basically that their entire life they have been told certain things. And we have not paid attention to how we educate. That's why we have what we have. And it basically, there is no more debate. There is just, yelling and screaming. And I remember the moment that it really, hit me was the 2000 election. It all started there. That was the first foray where it's basically, the narrative was that Al Gore won and he did not. And, and the thing is that, that's when they basically devised their scheme. And then back then you can actually, I know it happened because I was there and I saw it happen, where everyone was making fun of who was Catherine Harris at the time. She was Secretary of State of Florida. And they basically said that she's an idiot. And that was the public outcry. And that was done in movies and TVs and shows and everything. So the Democrats at the time said that we have to control every state. And that plan worked because, as you know, a majority of the states that are democratically run and democratically ruled, their rules for voting, they have the governorship and the Secretary of State. So they handle the voting aspects. And you see this happening now. The same thing happened in Louisiana, Virginia, California. It changed because that's why California is set the way it is. They want to control each state so that they can have they can control the swing states. and that's
Yeah.
why that's how it's operated. So then you have the education system also it's doing it, and you have and corporations doing it. It's all about control. And it used to be, okay, you have your opinion, I have your opinion. What can we agree on?
Mhm.
And we come together and we do it. Now there is no agreement. There is basically these master charge bills. You saw what happened. We haven't had a budget since 2000. So then
Yep.
at you had the rise of Obama, the Manchurian candidate, and you had and Trump is the reaction to Obama because they pushed too far, and Trump is to push back. Now, the language that Trump uses is harsh, but again, you need somebody to come up and clean the mess. And what you see now is just complete garbage all over the place. Yes, go ahead and play this one. Or what
Yeah, this is a good one. I went through and I tried to get videos about the same topic, but not the exact same content. That's what I was trying to do. All about what I wanted to play, and about why I picked that video to play, because that's what we should be seeing on TV when it involves our president or vice president, people like that. Not what we ended up getting. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And the fact that they didn't fire him immediately after that tells me the character of the channel. And I won't put any money into people that do that kind of stuff and get away with it. So I won't be watching ABC, and I won't recommend anything on there. And it's sad because, if it was their dad or their uncle, it would be different, but it isn't. They look at other people like they're just a mat that you lay on the floor and wipe your feet on. They don't have respect for anyone. And how can people respect other people that don't respect other people? If I walk around and said, fuck you to everybody, why would anybody be nice to me and want to open the door for me or, say a kind word when all I ever do is say, fuck you to everyone? See what I mean? That's what I'm talking about. And I just think it's pathetic. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and play this one now because I think it's a really good one. Here we go. Let me turn it up.
We are joined by Mark Beckham. He is senior advisor to First Lady Melania Trump. We can't figure out why Kimmel still has a job. What was her reaction when she heard that?
Well, I think initially the reaction is Kimmel needs to go. It's time that ABC stands up and terminates his employment. And this isn't a freedom of speech issue. The issue is purely commercially natured. Why does ABC and the advertisers want to stand behind Kimmel when over and over again, for such a long time now, he spews this hateful rhetoric, this political divisiveness? It's clear that his intent is not to entertain. He's not funny. He's not a comedian. He enters the homes of Americans every single night. 50% of them don't agree with his perspective, but yet ABC stands behind him.
Yeah, what about, so, he was suspended the first time because of making jokes after the death of Charlie Kirk. Sorry, the assassination. I don't think it's funny. But what about Kimmel supporters who say, this is the First Amendment, it's comedy, it's freedom of speech, he can say whatever he wants?
I don't think it's funny either. And frankly speaking, I think we should take an analysis of what the Democrat Party means today, what it has become. First of all, I read this week, just maybe yesterday in the Wall Street Journal, that political violence has increased from Democrats against Republicans. It's no longer mainly Republicans against Democrats. Second, think about the Democrat Party and who has stood up against this rhetoric yesterday. Axelrod is the only one. He said there should be an apology, and Fetterman. What does it mean when your entire party doesn't see a problem with this hateful rhetoric that has now turned into 3 assassination attempts of a United States president?
I want you to take a look at video and let me know your thoughts, because I was watching the First Lady right before and the seconds after at the table where they heard the shots ring out. And immediately she looked a little dazed. And then it was like it sank in, and you get that, wow, this is real. They want us dead. And you look at this video or this photo right here. What What did she talk about at this, after this incident?
Edie, I appreciate you giving the opportunity to address this. Well, first of all, our First Lady was not afraid. People think the facial expression that she was making points towards her being afraid. She was in control. She knew exactly what she had to do. She was the first to go under the table. She was telling the others, get down, get safe. She understood that, and she crawled her way to safety. What's nice about it is she understands that she loves the role of First Lady, and she understands in that role, in that position, there are now, unfortunately, inherent threats.
Yeah.
She understands that that exists, but everyone in the room was safe, and she's really happy that everybody was healthy.
Yeah, I mean, not afraid, but she doesn't want to lose her husband. And she wasn't there in Butler, Pennsylvania, and she wasn't on the golf course in Palm Beach. But I'll tell you what, she was sitting right next to him on Saturday night. And the rest of the media, they make this about how traumatic this was for them to experience it. People thought it was dishes, not gunshots. Think about how traumatic this is just for the Trump family.
Yeah.
Think about how traumatic it is for Barron Trump. Okay, nobody talks about him. He's a young guy now, 19 years old, and he's now had to witness this 3 times on television. RFK had to witness it once, and he lost his father. Okay, now Barron Trump's had to turn on the TV 3 times and witness 3 separate attempts on his father, who thankfully is still with us.
So then what do we do? What do we do as a society to stop that type of pressure? How could young people that want to get into politics go into
You could start
politics?
with getting rid of Jimmy Kimmel.
I agree.
You could
I
start
agree.
with getting rid of Jimmy Kimmel.
I
And by the
agree.
way, I think all of these station groups are looking at this very seriously. It's only Tuesday. A lot can change in a couple of days, but they're trying to see right now, can we weather the proverbial storm
But what
without
about-
making a move?
What
you
about
know?
the stockholders of ABC? I mean, if I don't have that stock, but if I had that stock, I would be going, wait a second, you're losing money. You have to fire 1,000 people from the entertainment division. You know that you can go to this one show and that it itself is losing you $30 to $50 million a year. And you recoup that money right away.
Yeah.
Who runs a business like that?
It's a poor business decision. There's no doubt about
But
it.
why?
But
Then
it's
why? What do they
fracturing.
want
It's
to do?
also fracturing our community. So you could look at some of the advertisers for Kimmel's show. They've actually supported the 47th presidential administration. They've supported the First Lady as well as the president. If you take a look at the list, you'll see there are people who have been supporting the president since the 47th administration has started.
Yeah.
What's interesting to me about this whole thing is the fact that the stockholders or the people that advertise on that channel didn't immediately contact them and say, he needs to be fired. I can't believe he would do something so low to say something like that, so hurtful. And it was like stabbing the president in the back because he didn't die. You know what I mean? It was like he was pissed off. That's what it seemed like to me when I heard it. And I don't even watch the show, okay? But it made me feel like he was mad because he didn't get shot. I know maybe I'm just, I don't know. Maybe I'm filled with hate or something. I don't know. I don't understand it. But that's how it came across to me. And I thought it was horrible. And I almost started crying when I thought about the way it probably made his wife feel. It was heartbreaking. I mean, I can't believe that he wasn't immediately canned. I mean, it's just not something you should do. I mean, there's a song in the movie Chicago that 2 of the stars sing in the prison, and they're talking about we don't have any class. There's no class anymore. What happened to all the class? People being classy or whatever. And that's what this to me sounds exactly like that. We have basically dried up as a society that has any.
But the thing is that I think when was the Chicago the movie? The Chicago movie is based in like the 20s and 30s, around there, I believe. So around there, and 100 years later, we're still doing the same thing. That's the whole point.
It's sad.
It's not good, But again, I don't. But the thing is that, from my perspective, I don't care because I don't watch Kimmel. I never liked him.
Mm-hmm.
Even because think about it, he went from the Horn Dog, which is pathetic. I never saw the man show. I just thought it was stupid. And now he's the exact opposite. But it's again. It just. it's very his story is very, very strange. That's all I have to say. You know.
Yeah, I don't really know anything
He's
about
not
him.
funny.
I don't even think he's funny. I've never watched it because I never thought the show was very good.
No.
So, you know, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, but yeah,
It was lowball humor, and then it was lowball humor that he had on his show. I never watched it. I preferred Carson and Conan, you know, Leno a little bit, you know, here or there, and then I just never liked it. And then, but then it just snapped, and then it snapped with everybody. But that's the thing. It snapped with everybody because that was the idea that Trump did the exact opposite. The only person that who really knew or who was really honest about Trump when he won the first time and told the story per se, and he did it in a funny way, was Dave Chappelle on Saturday Night Live. You know,
I found this and I just think it's so funny. See, I can laugh at dumbass, stupid stunts. Okay. And when someone makes a meme about it, it's funny. Okay. This is funny. You got a bunch of people goofing off, not paying attention when a guy just runs through with a gun.
Right.
So, but it's not hurting anyone. It's not pointing at any one specific person. You don't know any of these people from the video. But when I show you the stuff that I'm going to show you next, you'll get this whole post. But when I saw that, I had to bring it up. I just thought it was so funny because it's exactly what. Oh God, some of these memes are really good, but it's it's not the same thing as making fun of a woman that her husband, she should have been a widow or whatever type of thing. It was just, to me, it wasn't funny. It was not even dark comedy. You know what I mean? It was pathetic is what it was. But I want to share this next one. I thought was went along with this whole thing. So let me pause it. Okay, here we go. Let me make sure it's turned up. Yeah.
Fox News alert, the Justice Department just released new video from the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. Senior national correspondent Kevin Cork with more. Kevin.
Jesse, this newest video released not long ago by the U.S. Attorney for the District, Ginny Pirro, shows Cole Allen wandering around the Washington Hilton the day before and the night of the attack. And there's a fascinating image of a service dog seemingly sniffing out the alleged would-be assassin just before he sprints past the mags. Now, Saturday's images show a relaxed Cole wandering around the hallways, strolling, even appearing to look around at various doorways and possible exits. That was Friday, by the way. He also spent part of his Friday checking out the gym, which, given his physique, may have been his first time ever inside of one. There, he smiled and chatted up a staffer, wandered around again a bit before he eventually bailed. But the next night, he's actually behind a doorway in the upper right, upper left part of your screen there. And check out the service animal. It appears to want to engage the shooter, but the handler pulls the dog back. And then moments later, Allen emerges with a shotgun in hand and gets off at least one shot before sprinting past agents, allegedly falling down right into the hands of other agents, somehow managing to avoid being hit despite a hail of gunfire aimed in his direction. Now, all this, by the way, Jesse, happening on a day that his lawyers argued that despite being armed to the teeth with multiple weapons during that alleged commission of a crime, that Allen shouldn't remain in custody because he has no priors, because he apparently went to church and only had a pump-action shotgun. Now, for the record, he was carrying a fully loaded 12-gauge Mossberg Maverick with an extended mag. Prosecutors previously released a selfie showing him heavily armed, including a .38 semi-automatic handgun and multiple knives. Meantime, the head of the U.S. Secret Service, Sean Curran, today defended the security protocol Saturday night, saying the site was set up perfectly and that he wouldn't change the site again. He also said the agent hit by gunfire Saturday was not the victim of friendly fire. Allen, for his part, has yet to enter a plea. His next hearing is coming up May 11th. And again, I just want to reiterate, kudos to the handler of the service animals. I wish they had let the dog sort of check out that doorway, because it looked like to me, Jesse, the dog knew that guy was behind that door.
Yeah, these dogs, they're trained to sniff for explosives. narcotics. I wonder what hit that dog when his nose went through that doorway.
Yeah, it does make you wonder, because you're right. Some of them can smell the explosives. They can, maybe the dog has been trained to sniff out gunpowder. Who knows if the weapon had been fired previously? I just don't know. Or maybe he just smelled the scent of Alan and was like, that person shouldn't be behind that door, and wanted to simply engage whatever or whomever was behind that door. I think it's a fascinating element to this story, and one that we'll certainly follow up on.
Absolutely.
Jesse.
Probably smelled fear. Thanks so much, Kevin.
Yeah, you bet.
Fox News.
That is very interesting, the whole thing, the way he explained it. And he's right. If the guy with the dog would have let the dog do his job, he would have seen the man had all those weapons on him. So that guy failed. That guy failed his job. The dog didn't. The dog knew something was not right. This guy had multiple different scents on him for the 2 different weapons he had. And he could probably tell that the man was tense, or, they could tell if you have a lot of adrenaline, that type of thing. So he should have let the dog do his job. And he didn't. So, I'm not saying it's all his fault. I'm just saying he should, next time, just let the dogs go in there. That's his job, right. Let the dog sniff. So he would have found the guy would have been tackled before he ran down the hallway. But this fact is, he still got into the door. He still walked in. So I don't know. So I don't know. There's just so much about that. But we have to trust the people that we have to, finish the job. You know what I mean? So that's all we can do, is just hopefully see the next thing happen, and it will be, the truth will come out. We'll find out something. But I wanted to share this, because this is what this other person was talking about. He said the canine appeared to be suspicious of White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting suspect Cole Allen, but was pulled away just seconds before Allen charged. Because if the guy would have looked in the door, like I was saying, with where the dog was trying to go, he would have seen that he had the knives on him and the guns. So to me, that was a huge, massive failure also when I saw that. Especially look at, with all the people that were there, if he would have said whatever the alert word is in that doorway, I mean, look at all the people that would have run in there, and he would have been in that room. You see what I mean? So I don't know. I just wish that it's kind of making them look really stupid because they just look dumb. They just look clumsy. They just don't seem like they got it all together. You know what I mean? It's like they've never been in this situation before. You remember with the attack on Trump when he did get shot and he got his ear clipped? The look on the small blonde face was up to Trump's chin. She was too short to protect him, because you're supposed to be tall as the person or taller. And the fact that they gave him 2 short little women to do it, I just thought was ridiculous. And I'm a woman, but I want someone who can do the job. I want someone who wants a 200-pound woman to show up that's 5'2" if she's a fireman, okay, and she can't lift the hose, she can't carry the ladder, she can't do the job. Why would you want her on a fire truck and risk people's being trapped in their homes because she can't do it? It's just dumb to put someone in a position they can't do the job. And apparently it looks like, man, I hope their supervisor looks at those videos and says, man, every one of you guys are messed up. So you should have, there was just so many things I saw in there, like that thing laying on the ground, and nobody standing there to make sure no one goes past where he was at, that type of thing. I don't know, just really pathetic, I think. But let me bring up this next video. I think let me make sure. Yeah, this one's it. Here we go. I thought this was pretty good. Let me pause it. It's another interview on the same thing, but I like how each of these have different context to it. So I just wanted to play it, but here we go.
Terrorism that you say, well, now we'll never know. What could it possibly be?
Well, they're running away from this story because they know they got their fingerprints all over it. I disagree with Harold with all due respect. A call for unity is not for us. We don't need it.
He called for it, though.
No, I'm just saying that it's not for me to hear. It's for your side. We don't need it because it's only a one-way thing. You mentioned some examples like the Pelosi thing, which is a mental illness thing. The Wisconsin thing, we still aren't sure what the hell happened there. The Whitmer thing was a plot. Who created the plot? That would take an entire special to go under. I disagree with Jesse. This guy did hear voices. They were Tim Waltz's, they were Ted Lieu's, they were Brandon Johnson's, they were CNN's, they were The View, they were MS Now. Okay. I think this is a helpful assassination attempt because it is the first one to show that you can be radicalized by liberal smugness. If you read his posts and if you read his manifesto, it sounds like every smarmy, sanctimonious, self-satisfied pronouncement from an asshole like Brandon Johnson, like Waltz, like Lieu, the people who think they know better than you. This guy was not a crank. He was not deranged. Don't buy into that narrative because it lets these pompous asses off. He didn't do this because, as Jesse said, he didn't have voices in his head. He was just following orders. He was operating on a filter that said Trump was Hitler, and therefore it would be immoral if you didn't take Hitler out. So his filter is actually making him logical. He's the sanest one in the group because he took them at their word. When MS Now says Trump is Hitler, he's the sensible one. He went out and went after Hitler. Now, if you told him he was wrong, would he listen? No, because you know this guy. You've run into this guy. They think they're right. This is the big point. The biggest problem, and I don't include you in this, Harold, the problem with the left is the lack of humility. This is what has always bothered people on the right. We believe in a higher power. We could be wrong. But for something for the left, they can have ideas which turn into belief, which turn into an ideology, and there's no breaks to it, i.e. a higher power that might say, you know what? You could be wrong. This is a guy that when you read his stuff, he is right on everything. When you read his posts, when you read his, and then if something disappoints him, it's everybody's fault. This is exactly the same kind of person you run into at BLM, at Antifa, at any protest. Your liberal friend who thinks the world is out to get them, and yet they sit at home and they do nothing and they blame Trump. This event exposes that. It also exposes the myopic egoism of the media, who in the run-up to the dinner said, you know what, it's really about a threat against the press. And who brought on the threat? Well, it's this orange demon, Trump. But it turns out the guy who's getting shot at isn't the press. It's the orange demon that you have turned into a Hitlerian figure. He's the one facing the actual threat when all he's trying to do is what's best for the country. You may disagree with it, but you were the guys that created the rhetoric. So I think that this was a helpful assassination attempt because A, nobody got hurt. I'm not going to go with the conventional thing. Thank God, thank God, thank God. You can't write this off as a deranged person. And that is the lesson. You can learn how rhetoric turns into action, how there are security lapses in a hotel. How the hell was he not shot? Did he just trip? I mean, the Hilton, Paris Hilton is harder to get into than the DC Hilton. and I think the biggest thing here, and it'll go, and this is, it kind of goes back to COVID in a way. It's how scientific minds, this guy was an engineer, can do evil because it's unfettered to a higher power. He was making the decisions. He had control, just like Fauci, just like everybody that tells you, you are wrong, I know better. That was the whole point of his screed. When you read it, didn't sound crazy to me. It sounded like a guy saying, dude, I'm smarter than you are. It's a Unabomber.
But I'll tell you this, there have been attempts on presidents.
It's pretty scary. But what do you take out of that rant from Guffield?
No, he's right. He's right. that about everything. Again, it's the ideology. Basically, it's how it's indoctrination. It goes back to what I said before. In the year 2000, they did the governorship. They went after the Secretary of State, and they went for education. Education changed, and you see that happening every 10 years. That's when they do the great changes for the census, and they change policy every 10 years. And you see from 2000, 2010, 2020, see the change. And even between the biggest change happened 2010 to 2020. Because again, you're right in the smack in the middle of that, you have Trump. And that's what changed everything. So now they're not teaching, they're how'd you say it? Which it's the irony here of the greatest irony of all. They're not teaching world history. So how in the hell can they say someone's Hitler if they don't teach history at all? And then of course, then you have idiots that actually say, "Oh, well, National Socialist. That's how it was." But the way they'll say that. Well, they call the who is it? North Korea is the Republic of North Korea. So then means being a Republic, United States the same? They're using language wrong. They're doing it all the time, and that's the thing. And take it
professors and the teachers and people like that, and other politicians that are using those certain words to get young people by it, just like they do with when you kidnap someone, you constantly tell them the same thing over and over and over again, right? And over time, they start to believe whatever it is that they're being told.
That's what because again, that's the thing. They stand for nothing, so they'll fall for everything. All of them. I don't, and I'm just done with it.
Yeah,
they listen to the distortions. Like I didn't watch it because he is inseparable, John Oliver. But I saw some very recently. I only saw 1 minute because he's just complete garbage. He's and who else? Who's the other one? Everyone. It's still garbage. It's all. I'm done. I'm not listening to it at all. I don't listen to. I stopped watching Fox a long time ago too. I don't hardly watch anything on the TV, but I wanted to share this because this came across my timeline, and I followed them, and I think this is great. It says the National Fraud Enforcement Division is hiring. We're seeking qualified, experienced attorneys for 3-year renewable term positions in the Fraud Division's Healthcare Fraud Strike Force, located in the Northern District of California, Arizona, and Nevada. Applications are due May 14th, 2026. Learn more about the position here. And I'm going to share this link so that anyone out there that's a young lawyer, older lawyer, any lawyer that's interested in maybe applying for a job to help stop fraud in the medical industry, I think you should go for it. What's it going to hurt? We have a lot of bad shit going down. So wanted to share that. I think it's great. I've shared the ICE ones too, people, they're hiring ICE, ICE agents. So I wanted to share that with everyone because, that's how we stop the fraud. If you think there's this, that, and the other going on and everyone's involved, then why don't you get a job doing that? And then you can point the finger at whoever, just like what Elon tried to do with the whole Doge setup. He was trying to prove a point that if we could get rid of all the corruption, that we wouldn't even have to pay taxes. Because, with the whole tariff thing, if we do that, we won't need to pay taxes, especially if the money is going to where it's supposed to go, where it's allotted, right, where Congress votes to send it. That's the only place it should go. It shouldn't go to
everybody and their brother and then bounce back off of that and come back to their bank accounts, shit, which is what we're seeing more and more and more of, because that's a few of the things that I'm going to bring up are those different things that are going on, is people being arrested for fraud. And that's a start, but it's sick, and we got to start stopping these people that are able to get away with so much of that type of stuff. But this next thing I thought was pretty good too. It's some good news.
That's kind of funny. I'm doing the same thing.
So here we go. Let me pause it so I can turn it on. It says the United States has completed its withdrawal from WHO. So I'm happy about that. So here we go.
Hi, I'm Robert F. Kennedy Jr., your HHS secretary. On Thursday, the United States formally withdrew from the World Health Organization. We made this decision to reclaim our independence, to protect American sovereignty, and to free our public health policy from a system that no longer serves the American people. The World Health Organization has lost its way. It's drifted far from its founding mission, and it's become mired in bureaucracy, in conflicts of interest, and in international power politics. During the COVID pandemic, those failures weren't just abstract, they were deadly. The world watched as transparency collapsed, accountability disappeared, and ordinary citizens paid the price. That hasn't changed, and it isn't improving. President Trump recognized the problems with WHO immediately. In fact, one of his very first executive orders of his second term began the formal process of withdrawing the United States from the World Health Organization. It was an early, decisive signal that American health policy would answer to the American people and not to foreign bureaucracies. Today, we're completing that action. Protecting Americans here at home and abroad is our top priority. And that's why my team at HHS, working closely with the HHS career civil servants and scientists and the State Department, has strengthened our biosecurity, upgraded disease surveillance, improved outbreak preparedness, and expanded the rapid response capabilities for any public health emergency wherever it begins. We don't need outside institutions to do that. Going forward, U.S. engagement with the WHO will be limited solely to completing our withdrawal and safeguarding the health and safety of the American people. All U.S. funding has ended. All government U.S. personnel have stopped working there. I believe this deeply, that only the United States has the scale, the innovation, and the leadership to drive global health solutions that put people first, starting with our own citizens. Although we are withdrawing from the WHO, America will never withdraw from its leadership in global health. America will continue to lead. We will lead with science, with integrity, and with transparency, and with accountability. And let me say this clearly, for the Americans who died alone in nursing homes, the small businesses that were destroyed by reckless mandates, the families whose lives were upended by unelected foreign officials who never answered to them, this decision is for you. Thank you.
Great.
Produced by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
That was awesome. And it was nice to hear that. And it, just like what I've been saying, it's going to be hard after 4 years of this type of transparency from the different leaders that are in office trying to run things and straighten things out and get it back on board. And they're constantly having meetings and telling the public what they're doing. You know, they have all these journalists in there and they tell them, this is what we're doing. This is why we signed this executive order, or this is signing this law, whatever. It's because they're trying to be transparent. Okay. What transparency did we have during the whole 4 years of Biden? Okay. Half the time he was in his basement, nobody could even talk to the president. This president's been out there talking about every single thing he's working on and who he wants to work on it, that type of stuff. And then we have the employees coming out saying, we're doing this is what we're doing, this, we're doing that, we're arresting this, blah, blah, blah. We busted a group of people that are stealing cars. We're getting rid of narco terrorists. We're saving kids from trafficking. I mean, they're constantly letting us know. So how are we going to go back in 4 years when the Republicans lose and we go back to being Democrats? is everybody ready for the door to be shut and put the cardboard up on the windows where you don't know what's going on anymore? Is that what you guys want? So we've got to start standing up for what we see and what we know is wrong, just like what Gutfield just did. Is he voiced his opinion, and he took a risk to be able to come out and say that in public as someone that's in the entertainment industry. Because I mean, when I said no to the jab and I said no to the masks, they got rid of me. You know, they wouldn't hire me for any jobs or anything because I was unfit, because I won't conform, you know. So I just left, and I did a few independent things here, and that's what I do. But I took a hit, just like millions of people in the United States that had to move and look for new jobs because they weren't going to be conformed into being forced to do something against their will. And it's sad that we had a government that would do that in the United States of America. I mean, who would believe that would ever happen? I never thought I'd see anything like it in my lifetime. But guess what? It happened. So, and hopefully more and more of this stuff comes out, we'll start seeing accountability. Is there anything you want to say about this little ad I played?
Well, I want to know what is, if we withdrew, what is different. I have to do research, so I'll have to do that, because
well, at least now you know that we did withdraw, so now you can look into it. But we're not sending any more money to the World Health Organization at all. Not any more money, which is fine with me. We can do our own testing and our own stuff here, just like he said. But that doesn't mean we're not going to help others if they ask for, hey, how'd you guys do that? How'd you guys do this? We're going to still be very verbal about the things that we're doing. And that's how you can help people, by being open and trying to share what your knowledge is. And, you know, if they don't like it, too bad. I'm tired of paying everybody's bills, you know. We're trying to straighten out our own mess, and we don't need to have all this money going to other countries when they don't even want us there. They just want our money. That's all they want. They could care less about us. But I just wanted to share that because I was excited about when I saw it. So let me see what this next one is here. Give me 1 second. For some reason, it's not showing me what it is anymore. It's just a blank screen, which is really weird. Here we go. It's just a little blue screen. I can't see anything. Okay, this is Senator Ron Johnson. I've played quite a few of these types of interviews that he does when they're trying to get to the bottom of things, to decide on, you know, voting this way or that way. And he's been zeroing in on the whole COVID stuff, which is good because we need to get it. But I wanted you to listen to this little back and forth on this. Listen.
A memo that is apparently from CBER Director Dr. Prasad in December 2015, where apparently within FDA you're reviewing, I think it was 96 autopsies of child death following the COVID mRNA injection. In that memo, Dr. Prasad writes, "This is a profound revelation. For the first time, the U.S. FDA will acknowledge that COVID-19 vaccines killed American children. Healthy young children who faced tremendously low risk of death were coerced at the behest of the Biden administration via school and work mandates to receive a vaccine that could result in death. In many cases, such mandates were harmful. It is difficult to read cases where kids 7 to 16 may be dead as a result of COVID vaccines. Putting these facts together, it is horrifying to consider the U.S. vaccine regulation, including our actions, may have harmed more children than we saved. This requires humility and introspection. It requires oversight." And so I wrote a letter to you and your agency back on December 15th. Of the 10 responses, I got 3 out of 10. No responses, no response in terms of the documents I requested. So I'm asking you, please, will you commit to responding fully to my December oversight letter?
You have my 100% commitment.
Okay, so there you go. That's what he's got to do. Is Robert Kennedy Jr. has got to make sure he gets the information he's asked for, and he said he would, because he's asked. You know, he's been asking for a while before he was even in this position. So we got a lot. See, people don't realize we're in deep, deep shit. I mean, we got so much shit that they're shoveling shit on a daily basis to try to get to the truth. And then when they find the pieces, they're trying to put it all together and dig through all the shit. There's just tons of shit there that they have to get rid of.
What's going to happen, right?
What?
They're going to, the whole election. Well, if the Democrats are smart, and they're not that smart, they're going to, if they get into control, they're going to try and basically blame Trump for this whole problem too.
Yeah, because but that's why it's important that we play this stuff, because Fauci and all them lied to him. They told him all kinds of stuff but he said the one thing that Biden didn't. He said it should be up to the people whether they want to take it or not. Once they see what it is, if they ask questions, they should, be able to make that decision. But Fauci and them didn't do it that way. They wanted to force people into it. And if Hillary was president, I would have been put in a camp, and I would have been forced to get the jab, or I'd be living in a camp right now. That's what I really do believe that. I would never force anyone to go in a camp because they didn't get a vaccine. And I never got COVID. See, I was talking about this the other night. I'm lucky. I had a doctor, my allergy doctor, he just said, I don't think you should get the jab. And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, well, I don't recommend that you get the COVID vaccine. And I said, well, why not? And he said, well, I don't know what's in it. And he goes, so he told me and explained to me there was no ingredients listed on there. So he couldn't willingly give it to me, knowing I'm allergic to so many things. So basically he's the reason I didn't take the shot. And I'm thankful every day for a doctor who actually cared about his patients, that he recommended that we didn't do it. And then he also told me later to not be around people that were recently vaccinated for 6 to 9 weeks, because they shed on you. Like I showed you the dog and cats getting that vaccine.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. But that's the thing. The oversight there is not good, and they don't care. That's the whole thing, and that's the one thing that it doesn't puzzle me. It's just people are not. The system is built so that it confuses you all the time. The bureaucracy is too much. And
that's what Trump is trying to be as transparent as they can with the amount of bullshit they've got to go through to get it out to us.
Exactly. We'll see what happens. Oh.
Sorry. I know
that's
that
first
you're
yawn.
Getting worn out.
That's the first yawn. Shit.
Sorry. But this is the same guy. Senator Ron Johnson drops a bombshell on the COVID injections right here. So I'm going to play this with this little journalist, I guess, asking him a few questions. But here we go.
Hello, everyone. Alison Steinberg here with Lindell TV. We're with Senator Ron Johnson, who's doing fantastic work on exposing the lies behind the COVID shot, as you call it, because it's not actually a vaccine. Talk to us about what you covered today in the hearing.
I call it injection.
Injection,
because it's not a vaccine.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. It's a platform that turns your body into every cell in your body into a manufacturing site of the spike protein, which is the most toxic part of the coronavirus. Gee, what could go wrong?
Yeah.
So what we revealed today was the fact that we uncovered in the documents provided us by Bobby Kennedy's Radical Transparency, the fact that Peter Marks, who's head of CBER, was told on March 1st of 2021 that the mathematical algorithm they were using to analyze the VAERS data was going to hide safety signals. He was told this. And then 26 days later, they used a updated algorithm that unmasked those, told there were 49 cases of severe masking, 25 safety signals of serious adverse events. I mean, sudden cardiac death, pulmonary infarction. I listed about 10 of the 25.
Yeah.
And rather than pit a medal on Dr. Anna Scharsman, on her suit coat, they shunned her aside. They told her to cease and desist. They didn't want to see it. They continued to use the old system, knowing it was masking. Again, as I said, you don't need a sophisticated mathematical model to take a look at what was happening in 2021 as deaths and adverse events exploded. Even on a adverse event or a death per million dose basis, it was 55 times worse than adverse events on deaths on flu vaccines. Yeah. So again, you didn't need a sophisticated model to show you that. And yet they hid behind that sophisticated mathematical model and continued to claim, as we showed Peter Marks talking to the vaccine and the injection injured, till December 22nd, we're just not seeing a safety signal, even though they were treating those very same individuals, promising them that they would make it public, make the studies public, so the other vaccine injured, injection injured would be treated. They never admitted it. They never released that study. They never helped anybody other than those original people they treated at the NIH. And again, they were successfully treating them, not total cures, but it was helping them.
Yeah. I mean, it's absolutely infuriating and truly criminal, I think. Why do you think this was covered up? I mean, what's your best guess?
I said at the tail end of the hearings, if you're there and you've approved these things, you want to be responsible for approving a drug that's killing people. Right. When you push them on the public, when you did videos, say, get that jab, and then later on find out, what I was recommending to people, what I was pushing on people, killed them or permanently disabled them. Nobody wants to admit that. Doctors don't want to admit that. Federal health officials don't want to admit that. Media figures don't want to admit that. Members of Congress don't want to admit that. So we are in a massive state of denial here. And it's hard to bust through because nobody wants to admit they're wrong here.
Yeah, it's amazing to hear so many stories and stories of vaccine injured people who are just, their stories are swept under the rug and covered up, and no one wants to talk about it anymore because it's old news. But there has to be accountability. Are we ever going to see full accountability? We know that there was just a criminal referral for a top Fauci advisor. I mean, I think Fauci's next in line here. What do you think?
Well, unfortunately, Joe Biden pardoned him.
Yeah.
So legally, he's out of the woods. But no, we need to expose what he did.
Yeah.
Bobby Kennedy did a great job, and the real Anthony Fauci really showing what an awful human being Fauci is.
Yeah.
We need to continue that exposure. But no, we've got similar statements to Dr. David Morin's in our report of other CDC officials saying, let's talk about this offline. I mean, paraphrasing here, let's not put these things in an email. Yeah. So they stopped providing their analysis between FDA and CDC because there were FOIA requests. One of those was from me. So no, we've got a real problem inside these agencies. They understand FOIA. They know when they're kind of skirting, when they're doing something, contrary to the public good.
Yeah.
So they hide it. So we are very fortunate that Bobby Kennedy they had to force him to give us these documents, and that enough of them exist to at least start painting the picture.
Do you think perhaps, an essential next step would be to invalidate the auto pen pardon for Fauci so that he can be prosecuted?
I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know what kind of legal maneuvering, but accountability starts with exposure. Yeah. That's the first thing. Again, Fauci wants a legacy of, the guy who ended the pandemic. That should not be his legacy.
Yeah. And then you said your next hearing is going to likely include victims of the COVID injection, vaccine injured people.
Well, yeah, I mean, kind of late breaking is where I found out we had these, recordings of their Zoom meetings with Peter Marks. And so we had this treasure trove, and we just had a fraction of them. Yeah. Well, the number of times he was saying, we don't see a safety signal. I mean, think of that. He knew full well. Yeah. He is talking to people that are severely, you have to read Dree Bresson's book, Worth a Shot. I mean, you hear the agony she went through for years. Mm-hmm. She looks pretty in that video, but I mean, she had agonizing disabilities. Read it. Peter Marks knew that, and he was just sitting there, bold-faced, lying to him, going, we're not seeing a signal. We're gonna publish a study. We're gonna let the American public know, but just don't say anything about it now. It's really sick and craven.
It is very sick. Well, we're so grateful for all the work that you continue to do to expose the tyranny and the corruption. Thank you so much, Senator. We appreciate you.
Well, one thing I want to say about that is that many times since I started doing all this, I've played tons of videos of people who were hurt by it after they took it. They started having health problems and things like that. But every time I'd bring it up, I would get I'd get a warning or a strike against my channel because I was talking about medical misinformation and blah, blah, blah. Even when I played the Surgeon General of Florida's interview from Tucker Carlson, I got my channel taken down for 2 weeks because of that. And I had to take a class or whatever to teach me not, had to take a test or whatever on here, not to say certain things or do things or whatever. And it wasn't a copyright strike. But what was sad is there was no people. I couldn't talk to a real person and tell them, well, it's up on Tucker's channel, the exact same thing that you said I had to my channel taken down for. An interview with a real Surgeon General of Florida, and that was medical misinformation. So I don't understand that, because I take little videos like this one that try to put as much information about what the topic I'm talking about as I can, and play it for other people because they probably hadn't heard about it yet. But I'm just a teeny tiny channel. I don't have a lot of people that are actually listening to me. But the fact that they didn't even want me to share what the Surgeon General of Florida was saying, that was elected for the state of Florida, he's an idiot or something, like he was lying or whatever. See, they're so stuck in their mind, in their point of view, just like what Godfrey was saying. They won't even listen to anything you have to say, even if you have facts. They don't even want to see factual information. They just don't want to hear it. They don't want to see it or hear it. It's their way or the highway, basically. So don't ever expect, if you're going to do something like this, that you're ever going to make a living doing it. You better do it like I do for my social. This is my social life. This is what I do. I don't go anywhere or do nothing. I just stay home and do this. This is it. This is my life. So, and I do it because I think it's important. I think it's important that people try to use common sense that every person has. If you put your finger in there and it's hot, you're going to get burnt. If you put your finger in there and it's cold, it's going to freeze. It's that easy. I feel it's either heavy or it's not heavy. It's this way or that way. I mean, it's simple, but people make it so complicated because they don't want to see facts, actual facts to prove a point. That's why I played the whole thing about the ship they found, when they think it is Noah's Ark, and they're finding all the scientific proof, the time and where it's at and everything. It matches stuff in the Bible. Well, that's not real, but it's facts. These are scientists that are saying it, not biblical scholars. So I don't know. It's just funny. And I played it because, when it's facts come out, just like they did with the Shroud of Turin, how old it was, what the chemicals were on it, and all the different stuff, that there wasn't paint on it. There's no chemicals. It's made from supposedly the oozing of blood, separated blood after someone dies, stuff like that. It is science. Okay. And science will back you sooner or later if you get the right people that know the knowledge of this particular science that you want to share. So I don't know. It's just very, very annoying sometimes when people are they put their hand up. No, don't tell me nothing. They don't want to know anything more. They're happy to wallow around in the life that they have, not knowing, because they're happier. Are you feeling bad now? You ready to leave?
No, not yet. I'm just okay. Just still figuring it out.
But I'm going to bring up one more thing. It has to do with this, because this is I think it's that one, number 10. Yeah, I think it's this one. One more thing I wanted to bring up. I for some reason I didn't have it up here. I had to go get it during the other interview. But a former senior advisor to Anthony Fauci has been indicted for his role in the COVID-19 cover-up. This guy might throw away Anthony Fauci under the bus. So we'll see. But here we go. This is the news about it.
Former top advisor to Dr. Anthony Fauci now facing criminal charges. This over an alleged cover-up involving research into the origins of COVID. Rich Edson on this story. Intriguing, Rich. What you find out there in Washington?
Now, it is, Bill. The Justice Department has charged David Morins, a doctor, with conspiracy, claiming he concealed federal records to counter evidence that COVID-19 may have leaked from a lab in China, all to help restore a controversial coronavirus grant. Morins, a former aide to Dr. Anthony Fauci, testified before the House's COVID Select Subcommittee nearly 2 years ago about emails he'd sent in February 2021, claiming that he'd learned to make emails disappear after he received Freedom of Information Act requests.
Ever delete or attempt to delete a federal record? No, but let me explain why. When I came there in 1998, we were instructed to delete emails or to move them into PST files frequently because they jammed the computer.
The Justice Department says Morin's used his personal Gmail account to exchange non-public information. The indictment also claims an unnamed co-conspirator gave Morin's wine for his, quote, behind-the-scenes shenanigans, then suggested he could push scientific commentary in a prominent medical journal advocating that COVID-19 had natural origins. That's a competing claim with the lab leak theory. The indictment says the co-conspirator could also provide meals at top restaurants in Paris, New York, and Washington, D.C. In April 2020, the NIH terminated that back coronavirus grant awarded to EcoHealth Alliance, who then contracted the Wuhan Institute of Virology to conduct that research in China. From the start of the pandemic, its president, Peter Daszak, worked to discredit any theory that COVID-19 had leaked from that lab.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Rich. More to come.
See, they were trying to cover their ass because way back when I first started paying, this is when I first started paying attention to all of this, the whole thing with COVID, was when when Russia went into Ukraine and then went over the border. And I said, oh my gosh, they were saying, oh, they're invading them. They're killing everyone. They're blowing everyone up. They're burning the cities. And I was like, what? So I started looking into it and asking a bunch of people I knew that were from Russia, because I had lots of friends from all around. And they were like, they're going to this area, that area, and this other area. There was like 3 or 4 different spots. And then they were saying, well, they've surrounded the nuclear plant was one of them, I guess, to protect it from retaliation from being destroyed or whatever. And then they went to the laboratories and then went and took a bunch of stuff out and burned a bunch of stuff. So from what I could tell, it looked like they were worried that whatever was going on in these labs was going to infect them or make them sick or whatever. And so that's when I first started paying attention to it. Then we started sending all this money over there. And then after seeing that interview with Biden, when he's sitting there saying, yeah, I told him that, he ain't getting no money from us unless he fires that prosecutor that was looking for his son. Remember that whole interview? So I started going, yeah, this whole thing with Ukraine is fraud, big time fraud or something. That's how I was thinking in my mind. So I just kept watching and trying to gather as much information as I could, because I think that all of this is intertwined. They do this or that, and then they pay people off, and the money always leaves a trail. So we just have to be patient and let them, because it is so much. I mean, you got to think about it. Half the country's crooked, well, I mean, half the country's politicians and stuff that are in government in every state, we've got so many of them. So it's really deep. I mean, it's going to take a while for them to get up. But right now we're starting to see the bubblings of actual stuff coming out, and we've got somebody arrested now. So Comey's the top, and I said that, what was it, last year when we were talking about who the first person would be to be arrested, and I said I think it'd be Comey, because he was the one that had Trump's back. He was supposedly a Republican, right? And he was stabbing him in the back the whole time because he was on the dole from whoever was paying him to say this, that, and the other, because he hated Trump and he wanted to see him out, because Trump was going to ruin his, his cash cow and everyone else's cash cow going through Ukraine, because the people are going to go to work and pay their bills. That's what the people do. And they were spending it on everything except for the people that we needed it. The Americans, the veterans, the homeless, all the stuff that we thought it was going to. But oh well, that's just the way it is. But I just wanted to share that one because it goes with the other COVID stuff that I was trying to play. Do you want to add anything about that?
Well, I want to know. I want to know more about it. I want to know more when it comes out, because again, it can bite Trump in the butt. It's all about the narrative, how they'll push it.
Well, I don't know. I really think that the group of people that Trump has put in place in all the different areas, all working together and trying to keep all the stuff at the very end. I got that interview with what's his name again? Hold on, I always forget his name. Dan Bongino. It's his interview. Have you seen that yet? After he got out, about how he's like, there's so much shit. I mean, he was just shocked.
Right. I saw some of it. Yeah.
So, it's going to come out. Everything's going to come out. We just have to be patient. And the thing is it's going to take a while for all these people to go to court. I mean, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of people involved. That's a lot of people. People from every single state are going to be arrested for fraud, embezzlement, whatever else they can get them arrested for. But let me post a couple of these things real quick. Yeah, I know he said that, but that's not how most people took it, especially that same evening or whatever, or the next night. So let's go through this real quick. Sorry, I'm trying to get better at making sure I post everything because I miss a lot of stuff in the chat. Because normally when I'm not doing the show, I never see the chat because I can't, type on it and stuff like that on the program. It just won't let you unless you're the person running it. So that's why I want to make sure I do this. But yeah, I saw that. It's really sad the way that they, talked about our president, because the Hardwick, I had started the show with the 1981 Oscars, and it was on ABC, and the response after Ronald Reagan was almost assassinated the night before from ABC was like not the same as what we're getting today. And that was in 1981. So we've gone way downhill since then when it comes to the respect of our government and how we talk about them on television, where other countries can see it and stuff. I just think it's really, that was a really good Johnny Carson video. So, but I just wanted to tell him that because I didn't know if he saw it at the beginning. But let's see, this next thing I wanted to bring up is lots of people trying to do what we put them there for. And it's just not easy when you have people that don't want to do the job that we put them in there for, because they lied to us to say that they were going to do something, and then they didn't do any of it. But here it's these this is here. These are people from that had just trying to vote.
We're actually passing good legislation, and the Save America Act is a perfect example of it. Where the hell's the Senate? I mean, again, the greatest deliberative body in the world. When are they deliberating? That's what I want to know, because the House is doing its job. So you guys want to, try to stir things up over here. We're getting the stuff done. Yeah, it's hard work, but it's a 2 or 3 seat majority, and we're all working hard to do it. And yeah, sometimes it gets a little tense, but we're still getting stuff done, and we're sending over to the Senate. So we look forward to them doing their job.
So basically, they're saying that the Senate is the one that's holding up the SAVE Act. That they've all passed it from his end. They keep sending it to the Senate, and they won't do it. We have too many rhinos. We have got so many rhinos in there, and I wish people had to. I wish there was a better way of getting a person to be able to run under the R or the L or whichever, the D, whatever one,
or whoever,
and having to prove that that's who they are or that's what they want. You know what I mean?
But again, this goes back to 2000 again, because that's when basically that's when everything broke, because these bills are so massive, so confusing, so bogged down that that's why things take so long to go through, and then they're not. Again, here's the thing. The Republicans have a problem. The Democrats have a problem, but the Republicans have a bigger problem, because again, when you say rhino, it doesn't mean anything anymore, because it's the uniparty. It's basically they don't care about people in general.
Yeah,
it's the uniparty thing.
When I'm telling you, you understand what I mean when I say rhino. Someone else may think all of them are the same, but they're not. You just saw people talking to the press saying, we have done this, we have pushed this, we passed this and sent it to the Senate. We're doing it. We want the SAFE Act passed. So those people are doing their job, but nobody knows they've done their
But
job.
see how many that were there? It's only a handful of people.
I know, but just because they're not there, he said they passed it and they sent it to the Senate. So that means all the people in there fought and whatever happened like normal, but enough people said yes. So they passed it, they stamped it or whatever, and sent it to the Senate, waiting for the Senate to do their part, and they're not.
Yeah, but the thing is that
they're sitting on their ass.
but again, what you're forgetting is if they did bring it up, they'd change it, and then they have to go back to the House and then go back to the Senate again. It's always doubled.
Yeah, I know.
So
I know that part of it. But what I'm trying to say is it's nice to finally see someone on the news showing why it's just sitting there and nothing's happening. It's something did happen, but it's not this part of the government that messed it up. We're waiting on these people and they're just sitting on their ass, taking vacations or whatever.
Right.
And we need actual news people that go there and tell everybody every day, hey, how come you haven't done this? How come you haven't done that? Why aren't you doing this? Instead of doing nothing. They don't want to report anything. That's part of the problem is the people are not informed because we don't have reporters that want to tell us the facts. We have a bunch of people that just want to sit around and drink bottles of wine. It's what it looks like. But this next thing is another good thing that's happening, but not enough people know about it. And see, what's sad is that there's cameras in here all the time. Everything they do, there's cameras. So we just got to be able to get the videos and put them out. But it goes all day long. It's very boring. If anybody's ever had to sit into this kind of stuff, I can see why people just have to get up and go get coffee and go to the bathroom or whatever, because it's so freaking boring because it takes so long. While one person's standing there going blah, 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 blah for a half an hour or whatever. And then the next person, and they're all over the place. But they drag it out as long as they can, especially the people that don't want it to get passed. They'll drag it and drag it and drag it and keep dragging it until they're made to vote. And then once the vote's done, it moves over to the next thing or whatever. But a lot of people don't watch it, so they don't have an understanding. But I want to share this with you guys. I think you'll like this. Here we go.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The agricultural land of the United States should be owned by Americans, not by foreign adversaries, hostile regimes, or those who actively seek to undermine the economic, food, and national security of the American people. Right now, federal law does not have a forceful provision that strictly denies entities and persons affiliated with foreign adversaries and state sponsors of terrorism from buying up American farmland. The same governments that hack our critical infrastructure, poison our communities with fentanyl, and dare to surpass the United States on the world stage are slowly acquiring American farmland acre by acre, county by county, and state by state. My amendment is simple. It would prohibit the purchase of agricultural land by foreign adversaries and state sponsors of terrorism. The fact that our enemies and their accomplices are already not firmly restricted from purchasing ag land in our nation should alarm every member of this body. Enemy ownership of our agricultural land presents a clear, dire, and direct threat to our national security. Much of our farmland surrounds our nation's most sensitive critical infrastructure assets and military installations, and such proximity can afford our enemies the ability to surveil our troops and disrupt critical supply chains that support military readiness, our energy grid, and keep our economy flourishing. We should never allow our enemies to gain a foothold in the shadows of the installations that protect and defend our economic and national security. Our agricultural land is perhaps one of our nation's greatest strategic assets. It's the land that sustains American families, insulates our military installations, and serves as the backbone of the American economy. Why should we ever give our enemies a single inch of the very land that sustains our country? My amendment draws a hard line, which should have existed all along. Our enemies don't get to own Americans' agricultural land. I urge my colleagues to support the American people's sovereign right to our farmland by voting for my amendment. I reserve the remainder of my time.
I hope that this goes through. I mean, I think it's important. Now, I'm lucky because I have a governor that voted to get rid of anyone that foreign countries can't buy any land from our state. and she kicked and gave back the money from some Chinese companies that came in and bought land. But that's why when she found out about it, she said, "No, that's not going to happen, and we're not selling it to the communists or whatever." So we kicked them out. I've talked about that. I think it was early last year when Sarah Huckabee signed that directive or whatever it was. I don't know the terminologies very well, but I was so happy to see that I had a governor that cared enough about the people in her state that she didn't want the money. So are you all right?
Yeah, I got a headache. I don't know what's going on. It's the same thing. It's just pressure. But I'm okay.
Okay, good. But yeah,
Or at least I'm not
glad.
okay. That's the problem.
Yeah. Well, I hope.
Well, the thing is that the doctors don't know what's wrong. That's the problem. So it's what throws me off.
Yeah. Well, I hope they can figure it out. I mean,
well, that's why basically, unfortunately, everything that's going on, I have to go. That's why I want to go south, because I have to heal up, and that's the only place to go where I can, do that properly. I can't do it here anymore, and it's getting worse.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm having the doctors that don't know what's going on. It's just I'm not feeling well, and I want to heal up, and it's like I gotta do certain things. So I'm just working it out right now. So it's a lot.
Well, I'm hoping it gets a little better for you at least. So at least you can rest and stuff. Well, I thought this was interesting because what was it? I think it was 2 weeks ago. I did a special cosmic chat show about the all the missing scientists and different people involved in certain things. But I'm also starting to see something like this, which is scary. That this gentleman, Oklahoma State Senate candidate, he's 54 years old. He was found dead in his truck. It says a Republican endorsed by Kid Rock was reported missing after failing to appear at a Tuesday meeting. His truck was found in Sandy Sanders Wildlife Management Area, and authorities later discovered his body. So I don't know if he was in the truck or not, but from the pictures I saw, it kind of looks like his truck went off the road. That's why I don't know if he was run off the road or somebody drove by and shot him and he went off the road. I don't know. I don't have enough details yet, but this is going to be really interesting. I want to find out what happened to this guy. But let me make this bigger. This is in Oklahoma. That's his vehicle. He went off the road. Go along spot right there that he went off. So hope to find out what happened to the guy and clear it up from being a conspiracy theory. You know what I mean? Because we've got so many people that just, go jogging and never come back, or they just go off the road and they disappear. No one sees them. So I'd like to see some of these things like this cleared up and say, oh, he had a heart attack or he had a stroke and he went off the road. That kind of stuff is normal. But if he's shot or something like that, then we're going to say, oh, great, it's another person that's on the opposite side of the aisle that just got killed, while he was, because he's running for office. So I hope that they can clear that up, because I'd like to find out what happened, because it's going to end up being another rabbit hole that people are going to start digging and to take away from other things. You know what I'm saying? And we need to start getting to the bottom of some of these things, especially when it's made to look like it might be something. And if we can just clear it up and get it out of the way fast, then they can't use it anymore. You know what I mean? And that would be really nice. But let's see. I think that one, we already played that one. Let me see this next one. Oh, yeah, here's the other one. Wow, this was, I can't wait to see something big happen with this guy. That would be awesome. Okay. Let me pause this. Yours turned up. Gavin Newsom's California Medicaid program alone has reportedly lost $146 billion with a B to fraud. Now you know why when I showed you that fraud thing that they just started, our government, that they're hiring lawyers and stuff to help go through this. This is one of the reasons why. Okay. And it was that young kid from Minnesota, so I don't remember what his last name is, that started this whole thing. And it got people's minds going, just like what Doge did, right? So I think it's great. We got people stepping up to the plate, trying to clear this mess up. But that takes time, and it takes people, it takes lawyers, it takes accountants, it takes all kinds of people to get together to dig in there and find out who's responsible for all this stuff. But I can't wait. This is ridiculous. 146 billion.
Investigations bring us to the golden state of California. Look at this number, $146 billion. Health and Human Service officials confirmed that number to Chris Rufo as the staggering amount of fraud in a single program in Gavin Newsom's state Medicaid system. Stop and think about that. $146 billion, a single program, a single state. That is slightly more than Warren Buffett's estimated net worth. It is more than the GDP of several small countries like the Marshall Islands and Dominica, just to name a few. And it is well over $100 billion more than the most valuable NFL team, the Dallas Cowboys. That is just for Medicaid, just in California. So imagine what the total number of fraud is when you count all the social programs in all 50 states. The Trump administration is imagining that, and they are now taking action in a stunning raid of hospice facilities in Gavin Newsom's California. Now, just this week, the Justice Department announced 8 people were arrested accused of defrauding the state out of more than $50 million. That includes one couple who runs a hospice care center in Anaheim. And in dramatic fashion, authorities swarmed their residents, sawing through the metal front gates of the property, and used a loudspeaker to get them to come outside. The couple is accused of defrauding taxpayers to the tune of $7 million. And according to reports, their center has been a problem for years. Over the past 5 years, they reported more than 97% of their patients lived, and that's in hospice. That is unheard of. 90% of patients, on average, die less than 6 months after admission.
Amazing. That is just scary. Because we were talking about, I think it was Medicaid fraud in one county was like almost $1 billion. That was in California too. So that's 2 different counties with the billions of dollars wasted and stolen, basically. So people living high off the hog off of all of us. And we have veterans that live on benches and in vehicles. Families living in cars, stuff like that. And these people are eating steak and lobster and licking their fingers, enjoying all the tax dollars that they just gobbling down. And they hate Trump so much because he's stopping this shit that they want to kill him. And they preach it to all their people, like Maxine Waters saying, don't let them enjoy dinner. Don't let them get gas. Don't let them go to the park. Harass all of them. That's the kind of stuff they've been saying for years. It's sad and scary. You think about it. I mean, it's pathetic. And it's all because of them not wanting us to stop giving them money. Because do you honestly think that they would do any of this stuff if they had to take it out of their own pocket? No. Hell no. They wouldn't. They wouldn't lift one finger to help one person to come across the border and help them get a job and do whatever else, unless it was out of your wallet. You stand there with your wallet open, they're going to be happy to take it and give it to someone else, or to make themselves look like they're giving it to someone else, because it's going to recycle and come back to their wallet. That's how it seems to work. But yeah, this is pathetic and sad. I'm definitely want to share this link for this, because this is big. Let me find the right one real quick. Sorry. Oh, there it is. Okay, I'm going to share this in the chat because this is huge. I can't wait to show this to my sisters because they're not going to believe me. It's so funny. They just laugh at me sometimes when I share some of the stuff. They go, "I've never heard of that. That can't be true." You know, it just cracks me up. I'm like, it's on the news. It's real. It's on 4 or 5 networks or whatever. And it's on these different channels, but whatever. But do you want to comment on this whole thing about the waste and fraud?
No, it's just insane. I know it is.
Yeah, I know. It's just, but it's coming out. See, that's what's important. So it's out in the public. Okay, the people are looking at it now, and we have other people looking into it to, like I showed you, they're hiring lawyers and accountants and stuff to go work for that, so they can go through all this shit. They said it for a 3-year job. That's how long they think it's going to take to get this stuff done and start arresting people, because you can't arrest people if we don't know who did it and who pocketed all that money, because they weren't helping people. Just like I was talking about the Medicaid fraud, they're on hospice care and all this kind of stuff, but they don't have any bodies, no patients, you know, all this different stuff. But they spent almost $1 billion on it in one county in California. So it's like, it's sad. I mean, it's just so much waste. And then they have hydrants with no water. They have all these reservoirs with no water. They have no nuclear plants running anymore. They have to take power from Palo Verde, and they have rolling blackouts through the whole state because the place is so mismanaged. California used to be a wonderful, beautiful state, and now you got the trees are dying because they got bugs, you know, chewing them up, and they're not doing forestry management. They're not doing a lot of stuff in their state. It's pathetic. And then they have the thing where you have to sort your trash. You know, your household trash is like a teeny tiny little bin, and then there's trees and whatever else, paper, bottles, has to be all separated. But guess what? That one time we did the shit show, they followed that one garbage truck, and it went and it picked up all the recyclables and stuff. It took it to the regular dump and just dumped it in there with the rest of the stuff. They didn't even recycle it. So they even are, that is another big fraud. I guarantee it. They're taking all this money saying, oh, we're recycling, we're doing this, and they're not. They're just putting the money in their pockets, and they don't give a shit. And these people need to be held accountable, because people should see this and be pissed off. Not be pissed off at Trump because he's trying to do this. Be pissed off at these people that stole $146 billion in just that one thing in California. Just one little group of people did that. And that's just in one area. Just imagine when they start going around the rest of the state and other states. It's shocking, and I can't understand why everyone in California is not in an uproar over it. You know, you go to the doctor, you're a vet or whatever, and you try to get assistance to get help, and you can't get anyone to help you. They say you can't afford it, or you make too much money, or whatever their reasons, their excuses. And when all this money, $146 billion,
hold on,
didn't help anyone. So what did you say?
I'll be back in a bit. Hold on.
Okay. But yeah, it's terrible. I cannot wait until start seeing some people go to jail for this stuff, because, you know, they tried to put Trump in prison for all this kind of stuff, but I never saw any of this kind of stuff. I didn't see any evidence he did any of these things. And then we found out it wasn't. It was all made up shit. But I think this is the next one. Let me see. I can't see anything. They're just a green screen on my side. I don't see this, like we see this picture. It used to be over there, but it's not there anymore. It's gone. So I don't know if it's my program or if it's StreamYard or whatever. It's not letting me see anything. So it's really hard to make sure I'm clicking on the right one. Okay, this is a United States Postal Service employee, Ethan Pease, and he is a whistleblower about ballots about more stuff coming out. So you've got all these cases. You got fraud over here. You got fraud. There's so much fraud, and it's all in every department basically. And you got all the different departments all working diligently trying to clean it up and get to the bottom of it and find out who did what. And that's why people are so mad. Well, they're not arresting people. Well, you got to have a case. You got to have everything lined up. If any of you've ever been on a jury or gone to court with someone in your family and watched someone else, like I've been watching this trial for the whole Athena Strand murder, okay, and you got to watch what happens and how tedious it has to be to make sure everything's done properly so that the case doesn't get thrown out, because you don't want to go through all this shit and then you just like what happened with Comey. They arrest him and then they have to let him go because nothing's going to happen. So if you get him in there and you have all your ducks in a row and you have a decent judge, and then you have the case comes out and then they go by the evidence like you're supposed to, just like they did with P. Diddy. Yeah, he didn't get convicted on everything, but he's in prison. So you got to have faith that somebody's trying to do something right. And that's what I see. I see something right happening. We just have to be patient and let it happen, even though it's slow. But if you want it to stick, it's got to be done right so that it stays. But here we go. Let me open this up. Listen to this young man.
Thank you, Phil. During the run-up to and on Election Day, I was working as a temporary hire at United Mailing Services, UMS, a USPS subcontractor in Wisconsin. I began employment on August 26, 2020 as a route driver and box truck driver. This meant my job was to pick up mail on a predetermined route and deliver it to UMS for sorting and metering. I would then take the sorted mail in my box truck to USPS. In September or October, I began to deliver mail-in ballots from UMS to USPS as part of my evening delivery duties. I knew this because there was special bins marked for ballots only. On one occasion, I forgot to retrieve the ballots for transportation and had to go back for them. After that, I always made sure to check that I had the ballot bins loaded for transport. On November 2nd, 2020, I noticed that there was only one ballot in the bin for delivery to USPS. And on November 3rd, Election Day, there were no ballots in the bin for delivery. One can imagine my surprise then when the next day, November 4th, I was asked by a senior USPS employee named Monte if I had forgotten any ballots the night before. Monte explained that an order came down from the Wisconsin-Illinois chapter of USPS that 100,000 ballots were missing. Monte then told me that his post office had dispatched employees to look for the missing ballots around 4 a.m. and that only 7 or 8 were found at UMS. Based on my previous experience and habit of double checking for ballots, I believe that to be a lie. The following day, November 5th, 2020, I had a conversation with a different USPS employee named Rachel, in which she admitted that USPS employees were ordered to backdate ballots that were received too late to be lawfully counted. I asked Rachel if I would get in trouble with my boss for those ballots the other night, referring to the allegedly missing ballots I discussed with USPS employee Monte on November 4th, 2020. No, you wouldn't, she responded, as long as they were postmarked for the 3rd. She continued, that's why they had us do that. I didn't bring any of this to the attention of my supervisors at USPS at the time due to what I perceived to be their hostility towards President Donald Trump and their evident contempt for the law. I heard those same 2 post office employees making jokes about taking mail-in ballots for Trump and throwing them away. I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm not a Biden supporter either. In fact, I didn't vote for either of the main candidates. But something profoundly wrong occurred in Wisconsin during the presidential election, and the American people have a right to know about it. Thank you.
Wow, I think it's wonderful. It's nice to see that we still have young people that realize the mess that we're in and why we're in that mess, okay? Because they actually had a job and listened and paid attention to what was going on. And now he has to live with that. He's got to live with what he helped them do, right? Even though he didn't know anything about it. And if he hadn't listened and paid attention, he probably still wouldn't know. And I'm proud that, we still have young people like that are willing to step up to the plate and take a lot of criticism. Because I'm telling you right now, the people that didn't want Trump to leave that place to eat, some people, they don't want him to leave either. So it's sad. I mean, that's how I feel about it. I mean, I've gotten death threats on my tiny little channel, so it just because they don't like my point of view, and all they have to do is go click and go to the next channel. That's how simple it is. But some of these people, they don't think the way we think. They don't have common sense. Just like I say that all the time. Common sense tells you, just move on. It's not worth it. But no, they just want to do as much damage as they can. But did you know about this, young man?
No.
So, little by little, it's trickling in. I can't find all of it, but I guarantee they got way more than this little tiny bit that I've been able to play on our shows over and over. The difference of one person here, one person there, because it's, all dragged out in so many different states. And that makes it really hard to get it all and put it together for everybody, right? So, but it is happening. So I am thankful that we have people as of right now that I really think are doing the best they can for our country. It's just a pain in the butt. It's a lot of shit.
Yeah.
But let's see. I think this was one of the ones I was going to bring up too. I can't read it because I can't see it. Oh yeah. Okay. Remember in Trump's first administration when he hired this guy to be the one to run Space Force? Remember that? Lieutenant Matthew Lomer is his name. Well, as soon as Biden got in, he fired him. So Trump went and got him again, put him back in. So, but these are the different things for here, because he was talking about, the wokeness in there and some other things that he thought was wrong.
Here, I got it. Mr. President, first off, I want to speak on behalf of everyone here and say thank you for taking time tonight to speak with our troops.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We got a lot of good-looking men in this audience, don't we, huh? And a lot of good-looking women also, by the way. Thank you very much. Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to revisit something you've talked about already. My name is Matt Lohmeyer. I was an Air Force F-15 pilot, and I was a commander in your newly created U.S. Space Force. I am also the first veteran of the Space Force because under the Biden-Harris regime, I was fired from my command and lost my pension for criticizing DEI trainings that were rampant in the military. Those trainings are still dividing our troops, and thank you for saying you would fire those few woke generals who are a big problem.
They're gone.
I'm going to suggest that it might, in fact, require ongoing oversight and a persistent, consistent, watchful eye within the Pentagon to ensure this monster never returns to the Defense Department. Will you consider establishing a special task force, office, or position to ensure that these monsters never return to the Defense Department?
You know what I'll do? And I'm pretty good at this stuff. Sometimes you get it wrong. I'm going to put you on that task force. I think it's good. Not going to do better than him. I'll put you on. Make sure you give the name. Thank you. Beautiful. Right? I have your approval.
Yes, sir.
I have your approval. We're not going to get better than him. You're right about it. You're right. 100%. Thank you.
I thought that was great, but I was shocked. How tall is President Trump? He's like 6'6" or something, right?
6'2", 6'3".
Yeah, oh, he is. Okay. Well, his son is Barron, is 19, and he's taller than his dad. Well, that guy was standing, he was almost a whole head taller than Trump. I was like, holy crap, he's huge. I couldn't believe how tall he is.
I would reject the notion that diversity is our strength based on DEI definitions of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Merit-based, okay, I'm going to get away from that because if we're trying to find a unity of understanding, let me say this. Skill and performance matter in the military if you'd like to deter conflict and win our nation's wars, period. As a commander in the military, I had a black colonel fly across the country to promote me to lieutenant colonel because I love the hell out of the guy and respect his views on the Federalist Papers, which he was teaching me after work hours, and because he was the best leader I've ever worked with. The best airman that I had working for me, incidentally, was a transgender airman. So don't bullshit me and say that you think you know what you're talking about. You've never served. You don't understand how this works. We care about performance in the military, period. You don't know what you're talking about. Most of the people in this room don't know what they're talking about. We need lethality in the military, period. All of the stuff you guys talk about, the men and women in uniform don't think about. They go play Call of Duty at night after they learn their mission and execute that mission, period. They don't know what you're talking about. They don't know what you're voting on. They don't care about your sexual preference. They don't care what you look like, and they don't care what the person next to them looks like, period. I'm a citizen of this country, and I can dislike you and criticize you all I want here, but our men and women in uniform cannot. And so I speak on their behalf when I say lethality matters, merit-based selection and promotions matter, and your ideology doesn't matter one bit. And we need to identify principles which will preserve our union and preserve the unity of the United States military. If we do not, we'll lose that union. And it's my contest, whatever Truman did decades ago. No, you ask your average military service member when Truman was the president of the United States, they can't even tell you. But my point is, they're focused on what's happened since the George Floyd riots. There are things that have happened in the last 3 years in our military that we're up here to testify about, not the things that happened 60 years ago. We're great today because of what we've done for the last half century in the fighting of the Cold War.
Wow, he sounds like a person I'd be proud to have in the military to me. I think this is great. I was really happy when I saw it because I remembered when he got canned after Trump had put him in there and made a big deal out of how happy he was about leading Space Force, making sure that, you know, the best of the best were in there and all that kind of stuff. And then he got canned. I mean, just it was like they just wanted to stab another knife in Trump's back by getting rid of another decent person that's going to do a good job for our country. They didn't care about that. You know, they just cared about what they could take away, you know, that Trump had put in, because everything Trump did was wrong. You know, they hate him so much. But I just wanted to share that because I thought that was really, really good. And I did share it on my timeline, but I just thought it was great. I'm really proud that we still have decent people like that in the service. They just care about getting the work done, their job done. Okay, well, this next one is pretty good. I haven't got to get to it real quick. Yeah, right here. Here we go. See what you guys think about this guy. I like this guy though, so make sure I pause it. Open it, make it bigger. There we go.
But we're going to cover one thing we broke overnight. A lot of you probably heard about it over the course of the day. The United States government, the National Security Agency, intercepted conversations of President Zelensky's government in Ukraine in 2022, late 2022, conspiring with federal workers at the USAID to come up with a plan to take $200 million of USAID money. That is your money, folks, taxpayer money, route it through a series of transactions, move it into the United States, and launder it into Joe Biden's 2024 campaign and the Democratic National Committee. We have the intercepts for the first time. Tulsi Gabbard's team was willing to declassify them. There is now an investigation underway, beginning with USAID, to look at who was involved, whether any crimes were committed, and if that is the case, to refer that to the FBI in the next few days. Those declassified documents up at justthenews.com. You can go check about it today. Members of Congress have been clamoring all day to get their hands on the documents. I expect Tulsi Gabbard to make a statement later tonight on where things are evolving in her investigation. But we've gone from the era of weaponization, where the primary tool was using prosecutors and FBI agents, to disable Donald Trump and his followers and all the good people around him, to now potentially conspiring with foreign powers to have an impact on our elections. We have the Ukraine stuff this morning, and remember what we told you 3 weeks ago. Proof from the FBI that China sent thousands, tens of thousands of driver's licenses to the United States with fake names to get fake ballots to vote for Joe Biden in the 2020 election. Those aren't my words. Those are the words of the FBI informant in the FBI documents that we made public a few months ago. So China possibly conspiring with Joe Biden and the Democrats, and now possibly Ukraine. 2 investigations underway. We're going to keep you apprised of that right now.
Wow. It keeps opening up. It's getting bigger and bigger. But can you believe that? They went through all the time and effort to make, thousands and thousands of fake driver's licenses and send them over here so that they could have somebody use them, fill out the forms, and act like they voted. And that's why it took so long. It's like I said, COVID had to happen so that they could get 2 extra weeks to add. Instead of voting day, it became voting month, right? So they could get the votes they needed to beat him. And it worked. They got away with it. They got away with, all the fake ballots and stuff. And now we got all those truck drivers driving, and on our road. It's just a huge, giant mess that we got all these people now, new people trying to clean it up. And then at every turn, they're being sued, they're having to go to court, it's taken forever, and they're just dragging it all out as long as they can. I mean, we're already a year in and we still haven't even gotten all the judges that Trump has put out that he wants put in there. To me, it's pathetic how sad and horrible it is. We have people that just don't want to see Trump be successful in every way possible that they can think of. They're doing it to try to stammer it, to stop it in his tracks and drag it through the dirt. You know what I mean? Because if it takes long enough, people will say, well, Trump's not doing what he said he was going to do. He's a failure too, because it's already been a year, but it took how many years to get where we're at? I don't know. To me, I don't understand how people can. Everyone's so used to Uber and Uber Eats and driving through the drive-thru, everything like this. This is what they're used to. So the fact that they have to wait, and I was telling people the other day, I've been watching the Athena Strand trial sentencing about the FedEx guy that picked up that little 7-year-old and murdered her and then dumped her body. Okay, that happened almost 4 years ago. He's just now being sentenced. Okay, he admitted he was guilty because they had video of him killing the girl. It's all inside the truck, everything he did to her. And now he's just trying not to get the death penalty. And it's taken 4 weeks to do this one thing for the sentencing part. And people whining about this stuff a year. Oh, it's taking forever from doing it. I go, these parents have been waiting almost 4 years to see justice for their 7-year-old daughter. I think you can wait till the end of Trump's, term to see whether or not he can get that way. It's just pathetic how people are just so whining, complaining, because they have nothing better to do except for look into stuff. If you think there's a way that you can speed things up, why don't you help them? Dig up the information and send it to them and say, here's some information. This will help you put those people in jail. Do something. Get off your ass and stop whining. Go sit and watch Athena Strand's the case and watch that whole thing and see what her parents went through, and then tell me that you're worse off because you're not even involved in any of this stuff. You're just sitting and waiting on Trump to fail. Whatever. I don't know what your reasons are, but to me it's pathetic. I've had to put a 10-minute timer, on this stream because of all the trolls. Get tons of trolls, Trump haters or whatever, me haters that they can't stand me. So they have to be a member of my channel for 10 minutes before they could write in the chat. I had to do that because it's terrible. I waited 5 minutes and there was tens of them, I had like 5 or 6 of them in there. So it's terrible. But let's see, that was the one I just did, I think. Yeah, let me close that one. All right, we got a couple left, so we're getting close. And you almost made it through the whole thing. Okay, here we go. This is what I was telling you about earlier. the Dan Bongino interview or part of it. Because a lot of people were interested in finding out what they could when he left, after he left his position in the FBI. And I didn't watch it. I didn't watch any of his stuff or whatever because I was kind of let down by him, But some people said, oh, he's sick and some other stuff. I don't know. I haven't looked into it. But this came across my timeline because I follow Eric and he posts some pretty good stuff. So I decided to click on it. So I thought I'd share it with you guys. Here we go. He's on Sean Hannity.
I will never be the same, and I'm being as serious as a stroke right now. I'm scared, man. Like I know what I did, and I'm proud of my work, and I'm proud of what me and Cash accomplished in the past year. Beyond proud. I know what we did. I know what's coming. I know what I started. I know what I laid out, and I know it's all. You saw a lot of these cases coming out over the past few days, even. But don't think for a second that I don't think every day, and this is what's really sad, and this is why I know, and I never thought this after reading that enough Friday night, that they're going to come for me. And listen, man, it's not a sob story. I knew what I was getting into. But it happened to the president, and he went through just the worst, just destruction of his civil liberties I've ever seen. But I say to my wife all the time, I know, Sean, I can look you in the face as a friend, tell you and your millions of viewers and listeners, I promise you everything I did with a dotted I and a crossed T. I brought in my own attorney from the outside, person I trusted, a wonderful, wonderful person. I said, no, everything is going to be by the book, everything. I'm confident in that. And you know what? It don't matter. They'll rewrite the book, just like they did for President Trump. And I said to my wife, I said, I got a 14-year-old. The presidency could change. I hope it doesn't in a little over 2 years. You don't think on election night, if we lose, like it's not going through my head, like they're going to send some thugs to my house? I was never the same after that, because after reading what I read about how many people did this to President Trump, this Russia hoax, collusion, crossfire hurricane bullshit, and not a single person stopped them, I'm terrified that they're just not going to do the right thing when they're in charge.
Wow. Pretty good, huh? Pretty deep. But I've been saying it all along. I've been saying that about all these people, even when Clinton was in, that these people will throw a kid under a bus for $5. They have no morals. They don't care. And this is my opinion. I'm going to say that again. From everything that I've seen, these people would do anything for themselves. They're all narcissistic sociopaths is what it looks like to me. And that one guy that did, when they were just talking about the shooter, the attempted shooter guy, everything he said in his posts and stuff, it sounded just like a narcissist. So it's like they're training all these people through school, from elementary school up, to be me, and I'm always right. That type of attitude. You ready to leave?
No. When we're done.
Okay, well, I'm almost finished. But that's how I feel about this, and you could tell that he talked to his wife and he said, we got to do. That's why I'm worried about this whole midterms that's coming up. The elections. This isn't it this year in November? Right? Okay. The thing is, if Congress doesn't get all this stuff to get off their ass and get the SAVE Act done to where these people can't vote, and we lose more seats and they get more say, Trump won't get a damn thing done. Nothing will happen. Every single thing he does will be done by executive order. And what happens when you do that? Oh, he's a king. He thinks he can do whatever he wants. He just writes down it on a pen. He has no options. They're not giving him any. And that's what they're trying to do. And we have enough rhinos that are stopping anything from passing. Can't put in judges. And every time Trump says if they're gone long enough, I'll appoint them. But he can't, because they just come in and go kick with a gaggle. And then they go home. So they're just assholes. They know exactly what they're doing. And it really pisses me off, because they're stifling government, just like what those guys said on the Hill. They said, hey, we've done this multiple times. We passed it back to them, but they won't do anything with it. They just let us sit there. So, you know, until we can get those people out, get their asses out, or the people from the states that put them in those jobs start harassing the shit out of them, saying, we demand you earn your check. Get your ass in there and pass the SAVE Act. Get it done. But I don't know. I'm really worried. And by listening to this interview by Dan Bongino, he's worried too. He's worried that if enough people get in there, it's over. And all these people that just disappear or found on the side of the road or whatever, and they're got an R next to their name or a C for conservative, you're gone. Got to get rid of you, because we want that $146 billion to waste on our pools and our yachts and whatever else we want to buy with hookers, blow, fentanyl, whatever they want to spend that money on. That's what they're going to do. And if we don't do anything to stop it, we won't have anything left. Our children, our grandchildren are going to grow up in a country where they can't have anything. You'll be told what to do, what to eat, and what you can have by the people that have everything, and they look down at you and tell you what to do. That's what I'm worried about. And you know, if we don't hold on or get these people off their ass to do their job, I don't see how. I mean, just think about it. All they got to do is flip Florida or Texas. That's 40 something. 40 is it? I think it's 48 electoral college votes just from Texas. We'll never win another election because Arkansas, our whole state doesn't even have as many people as the city of New York has. Just the city, you know.
Right.
So people just can't comprehend that when they see the state on the map. It's big, you know. That, oh, look, it's all red. It's got a lot of people. It's not people. When you go to the blue areas, it goes up, 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 up. The amount of population compared to the rural areas where it's like 1 or 2 layers. That's it of, you know, of people numbers. And it's really scary to think about it, but you know, it's up to us, people. We got to get off our ass, take back our states. And Arkansas is doing pretty good, but we don't have the people. We don't have the numbers that some of these other states have. So, you know, I just don't know how we're going to you know, fix this or change it. Hold on, I think we got. Let me see if this is the last one. I can't see anything. It's blue.
Can't see.
No, it's just a blank screen. Okay, yeah, this is a good one. All right, I'm gonna turn it down. I like Holly. He's a lot of people don't like him. They think he's an arrogant asshole, you know, and stuff, the same stuff they say about Trump. But I like him because to me, I don't care what he has to do to get the truth out. You know, when he's sitting his ass in that chair and we're paying him with our tax dollars, he should be doing everything he can to get the truth out and to be able so that they can get things done, get laws passed and stuff. And to me, even if he has to be a little rough, oh, well, that's how I look at it. So here we go. I'm going to make it bigger and turn it up a little bit. So here we go. Listen to this.
You know, the other thing is whistleblowers came to you as early as 2019. Let's look. As early as 2019, whistleblower. Don't talk over me.
No,
as early as
talking over me.
2019, it's my hearing, pal. As early as 2019.
Don't call me
whistleblowers came to, well, I should call you prisoner because you ought to be in jail.
All right, here with more, Missouri Senator Josh Hawley. All right, he was warned. Whistleblowers tried to tell him. He didn't do a thing about it. Number one, how much money are we talking about? And in the course of that exchange, you said he should be indicted, put in jail, and resign. I don't think he wanted to hear you.
No, he didn't, Sean, which is why he was trying to shout over me. But you know what? The truth is a hard thing, especially when you're a crook like this guy. How much money? $250 million was stolen by this Somali outfit feeding our futures. He made $10,000 in campaign contributions. His family got more money in campaign contributions. Sean, whistleblowers came to him. He didn't do a thing. He didn't do anything until The fraudsters came to him in his office, asked him to get the investigators off of their backs and promised him money. And then he swung into action and put his hand out. That's what we call bribery, Sean. He ought to be indicted. He ought to go to jail. He ought to be ashamed. And you want to know why we have a corruption problem in this country? It's people like Keith Ellison.
Wow. Have you seen that before? You hadn't? I can't hear you. I think your mic's off. But yeah, I thought that was really good. I just love that. See, if we and Kennedy's like that too. They're very fiery, but they're good. They're working. They're trying to do what's best. You know what I mean, for our country. At least that's how they come across to me. I may be naive or whatever, but that's not how I see it. Sometimes you have to be firm to get things, you know, get it done right now, whatever type of thing. So basically. That's it. That's the only thing I had left. I don't see anything else. Everything else is like opened stuff that I've already done. Is there anything you want to talk about before we end?
No, not right now. I'm just.
I got one more. I forgot. Here it is.
Okay. Go.
Let me open it real quick. Darn it! I'm so sorry. I forgot about this one because it didn't have a number. It just was a blank line there. I don't know why, but oh well. It happens sometimes. Oh, I got to turn off this one first. Okay, got that closed. Now I can open and get the other one. Now his name's up there again. I don't know. It just disappears. I don't know why. But U.S. Attorney Boyle is coming in hot. He's leading the prosecution of James Comey in North Carolina and sounds determined on putting him away. So here we go. Let's see what he has to say. Because many other people have gone to jail for 5 years or more just for threatening the president. So let's see what happens.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney General. Earlier today, a grand jury in the Eastern District of North Carolina returned a true bill indicting Mr. James Comey with committing 2 felonies. Count 1, he knowingly and willfully made a threat to kill and to inflict bodily harm upon the President of the United States in violation of 18 U.S.C. 871A. Count 2, he knowingly and willfully transmitted in interstate and foreign commerce a communication that contained a threat to kill President Trump in violation of 18 U.S.C. 875C. Mr. Comey will be given every form of due process all citizens are entitled to receive, to include a trial by a jury of his peers. In the Eastern District of North Carolina, it doesn't matter who you are. We take all threat cases seriously and prosecute anyone who violates federal law, regardless of title or status. Thank you.
There you go. That was the last one I had. I forgot about that one. Sorry.
No, it's
closing
fine.
all these other ones. Okay, well, I did everything that I had pulled up because I had played all the most of the COVID stuff the other night, so I wouldn't have to do it tonight because I try to keep it all together. You know what I mean? But I have one more, and I haven't been able to find it again, and it was a leaked voice message from Fauci to someone else talking about how to intimidate people to get them, break them down to where they will take this jab, whether they want to or not, because they need their jobs, blah, blah, blah. It's horrible. And I'm glad that they did it, but I've been looking for it. I can't find it again. I don't know where I put it, but it's out there. And I was going to play that as the last video, but I don't know where it is. I just cannot seem to find it, but it was a good one. Have you seen that one?
No.
Man, it's slam dunk because it's Fauci and he's sitting there going like he didn't know what to do. It was good. It's because that's during that whole meeting that where they're interviewing all these people for the COVID stuff, one by one, bringing them in, and they're asking them questions under oath, which is great because to me that's the most important thing. Get them on record like they did the Clintons. Okay, he's going through those things and drooling over the pictures and stuff, but it's on record now. Everything they said, I wasn't there, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. When their fingerprints and their shits all over the place. They got photos and videos and everything. So I just love it because they lied under oath and they have evidence of it. That's why they brought them forth. So it's going to be great. I mean, it's going to be good when it happens, when they get it all together. They're doing it. They are putting stuff together. It's just that we got to be patient. And I like the fact that they're doing it on camera. So it gives people like us that want to find it, and just go to the DOJ website or whatever, and you pull out a bunch of stuff and watch videos on there. There's tons of stuff on there. Same thing with the Epstein files. There's so many videos, and so many people said, "Oh, I just can't read anymore. It's this horrible stuff that they were doing. It's terrible." And I said, "Yeah, but see, just like Trump said way long ago, this not going to be the names that you guys think you're going to get. You're not going to get like all these famous names. They're mostly just people that had money, and it was a way for Epstein to be able to control them and get money from them." To stay in business as long as he was, and pay for all the shit that he's got, because he blackmailed lots and lots of people, that makes money for you. So, but, the girls did get paid a buttload of money, some of them, because the brother, after his brother died, his brother went out and gave out like, it was a $200 million settlement or whatever, and the girls signed non-disclosures or whatever, and they took the money and they went and they, decide to have families of their own and buy a home or whatever it was. But, time heals a lot of people. They just want it to be over with. Just like that trial I was telling you about, you can sit there day after day after day and have her room look the same and everything. It doesn't fix anything. Even the fact that this guy's going to get the death penalty, hopefully, the jury, only one person has to say, "Oh, his mom drank when she was pregnant and he just didn't know what he was doing." But after you see all the evidence, you're like, yeah, he knew exactly what he was doing, and he still did it. So I hope he gets a death penalty. And it'll probably take 20 years, another 20 years that the parents have to sit and wait for the appeals and whatever else before they're going to actually get justice for their little 7-year-old daughter that got murdered before Christmas. It's horrible. Almost 4 years ago. So she'd be 11 years old now, if she'd had her birthday. But it's, I just wish people realized how long it takes to go through court. It's just not something that goes like that. It's just not like that. It's not like going to, the drive-through at McDonald's. It takes years for most of this stuff. Unless the criminal says, "I just want a speedy trial." And even if he says that and the judge thinks that he just wants to commit suicide, then he won't do it. You know what I mean? He'll make him go to a mental place. It drags it out even longer. It's just really, really slow. The system is just, not made for the victims. It's made for the criminals, basically. Their way of life. But yeah, that's good. I'm glad that they did rule. But the thing is, how long will that last? How long is it going to take where they figure out some other way to get around that? And that's why they don't want to pass the SAVE Act, because they need those votes. They need those illegals all over to be able to have some type of numbers that they need. And that's like I'm telling you, if every single person that's able went to their polling place and said, "I want to work the polls," just the one day, because that's how I should have. If they did that, if we had at least one person, if that, let's say one person in every town, whatever, they signed up to work the polls, guess what? They're not going to cheat right in front of you. Because the whole stunt where they said, "Oh, it's flooding in the men's bathroom. We have to leave the building, blah, 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 blah." And I'm like, well, it's not flooding around me. Well, just block the hallway off or whatever. You see, I would have said, this is stupid to clear out the whole building. I'm not supposed to leave these ballots. Because when you are sitting at a table and you are gonna have ballots there. You got a whole box of ballots for your county or your parish or whatever, right? And those people are going to come to you, and you got to go process and give them one ballot a person, right? We had to swear an oath to a judge that we were going to uphold the law and do our job. So if somebody came and said you have to leave, and I would go, okay. When I started getting my stuff, they go, what are you doing? I said, well, I have to take this with me because I swore I would not let these out of my sight until they were counted and back in that box and locked. So, you know, how can I do that if I'm not even in here and you're making the rest of them leave too? So we're all going to take our stuff. So that's what I would have said. That's why they wouldn't get away with it, because unless you're in on it, they won't cheat right in front of you. That's why when they had those cameras and they were showing all those videos and stuff of different polling places and how they thought it was weird, certain things that people were doing. And there was a guy, one man sitting at a table, and he had stacks of ballots and he was taking them, and I see a mark on it and he put it over here to another one. What's he doing? I've never seen anyone allowed to do anything like that. Because this one lady had that bad ballot that she had accidentally wrote on and wrote on the wrong thing. So she came to us and said she needed a new ballot. So we had to call a judge, which is an actual county judge. He comes over and he looks at her thing, and he initials it, and then we all initial it because we're all the witnesses. We have to sign it on her spoiled ballot. Then we have to put it in an envelope, and we have to seal it. And the judge writes spoiled ballot, and he puts his signature on that, and it's in this envelope sealed. That's a ballot, and he drops it in the ballot box. It's already of all the votes, right? So at the end of the night, we count how many ballots we have left, so we know exactly how many ballots we passed out in our thing. Then we count the ballots in the slot that were locked in the box that the judge is watching. This other person is nominated as a judge. Then we open it and we lay them out on the table and we count them. And we put this many for this person, this many for that. This is who, you know, because there's, you know, depending on how many people you have on your ballot, you know, for like the different, you know, county clerk, chief of police or whatever. It's got a bunch of stuff on it, right? So you add all that up, but guess how many ballots we should have left? Just what we said we'd pass out. And then you put them over there. And if there's more, that means someone put ballots in there that weren't supposed to be there. Because we should only have so many ballots for our whole county. That's all the ballots there should be. And that's why I don't understand how they got away with hundreds of thousands of ballots added to the voter rolls. But that's impossible. You know, you only print the ballots you need for that county. Okay, this county only has 322 people. I'm just guessing. That's all the ballots that would be printed. If that's all the registered voters, you're going to have extra. Okay, so we'll have extra, like 10 or 12 extra in case somebody comes and says they want to, they just registered or whatever, that type of thing. But it's very few. It's not 100,000. You know, we're not going to have stacks of them in the back room. You know, that's why I don't know how they got away with it. I mean, I saw so much fraud, and just watching some of the videos that were on TV from working 2 different states and 2 different voting polls, you know, areas. I was like, those people are cheating. It's blatantly obvious. And anyone that worked the polls, you know, or have ever done voting that stuff would look at it and say the same thing. Oh my God, look at all the people cheating. It's just shocking. And then nothing happens. It's really frustrating. But John Thune needs to be replaced. The name sounds familiar, but I'm not placing who he is. Do you know who it is?
John Thune?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the Senate Majority Leader for.
Oh,
the
that's right. Okay, I knew the name. Now I remember him now because I even have that on my timeline about how he's just, I don't know, it's something's weird with him. I mean, it just doesn't seem. I don't know how you get hounded day after day after day by all those reporters. And just keep a straight face. You know what I mean? How do you do that? I don't know. I guess I'm just not very good at that kind of stuff. But I have won at poker, so I must have a good poker face or something. But you know what I mean? You think you don't, but then you do. I don't know. It's interesting. But I just want to say thank you to everyone who hung out with us this evening. And hope you guys are going to have a wonderful weekend because I'm going to be playing. I'm going to be playing Pathfinder tomorrow, and then on Sunday, the movie that we're going to review is Play Misty for Me. It's the first. I think it's the first movie directed by
Yes.
Clint Eastwood, and he stars in it.
Yes.
So we're excited about it. Bruce has never seen it, and I told him please don't watch it yet because he always watches it before we watch it, and then he watches it. You know, if it's any good or he liked it, he'll watch the whole thing. But usually he just kind of sporadically watches what's going on. A couple times I've heard him fall asleep. You know, because I know he already watched the movie and he's just sleeping. I can hear him, but I'm like, this makes me mad because I go, I don't do that. When I've never seen a movie, I wait until I'm there, like I said it would be, and I watch the movie and I'm crying or whatever happens because you know I haven't seen it before. You know, I just think it's funny. But if you want to watch the movie with us, if you send me a DM on X. Or Instagram. I'm on Instagram, X, Rumble, and TikTok. If you want to send me a message, say, hey, I wanna watch the movie with you. Play Misty for me, and I'll send you an invite to our Discord so you can join us to watch it. It's really fun. We just watch the movie. We try not to talk at all and be quiet. When Bruce and it's just Bruce and I, we just leave our mics open and talk or whatever. But when other people are there, we try to be real quiet. And then after, we all just sit around and talk about the movie. We look up really interesting trivia and stuff. It's really fun because so many things that I found out about different stuff going on behind the scenes that I didn't even know about. You know, this last movie that we just did was Kelly's Heroes. Donald Sutherland actually died for like 5 seconds. He was dead for like 5 seconds. They brought him back to life. He had spinal meningitis, and they had called his wife, during the filming because he got spinal meningitis, got really, really sick. And his wife got arrested during this time too for going to an undercover cop, that was tracking the Black Panthers or whatever because she was trying to buy hand grenades from him.
Oh, God.
Yeah, real crazy stuff. You just never know what you're going to find. But that's what's great about having more people than just Bruce and I watching the movie. And we're all like looking up tidbits of information. And it's just interesting and fun. I really enjoy it. Oh, somebody wrote something right here. You need more dwarves in your Pathfinder campaign. Yeah, we do. We don't have any, I don't think. But I'm not a dwarf. But maybe I'll be a dwarf on my next game or whatever. We'll see what happens. But so what do you have planned?
No, I'm just, trying to heal up. It's just like I said, the doctor's just dealing with that lot right now. So that's doing that. We'll see what happens. But basically, like I said, we were talking offline. Got to go down south because it's like, I just need to heal up, and I just need to get my life in order. For that's what I got to do. So it's basically, been working, I'm just trying to do my thing. As I told you before, we talked about it last time. Love algebra. It's because it's bigger than it is. It's something very, very big coming. So I got to work on it out right now.
Well, I'm praying for you, and
yes.
Just gotta keep doing what you're doing, and hopefully it'll get better. I mean, you can't just snap your fingers. I know that, but before we leave, I want to show something to. I don't know if Hardwick saw it yet, so I'm going to play that one video I made.
Oh yeah.
For my members. Here we go. Let's see.
I just want to say thank you. Say thank you for everything. All the blessings, the messes, whatever comes next, I know you're watching over me. And I just want to be grateful. Just grateful for all I have. I'm alive and I'm breathing. This vibe got me singing.
I love it. I can't believe I made that for myself. It turned out pretty good. But I just want to say thank you to everyone. And Hungar was in here earlier, so he was one of the others. So, but I just want to say thanks again, and everybody have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. and enjoy yourself and hug your family members. Bye, everyone.
Boys and girls all over the world are being abused and tortured.
The worst moments of these children's lives, they're being videotaped and they're being shared with other offenders all over the world.
Many people would refer to this as CSAM, child sexual abuse material.
They are suffering and they don't think that anyone is coming to help them. But we can. We can build that army and we can go get them.
Come be a part of this team that is trying to push back this evil.